Well, let me get on with the business of introducing our speaker today. This is Mike O'Mary, who's co-founder of an organization called LitNuts, litnuts.com, with his daughter and business partner, Kathleen Meyer. And they are here drawing on his experience as co-founder of the LitNuts e-newsletter and owner of an indie press. Mike will provide an overview of the book e-newsletter industry and advice on strategic use of e-newsletters and websites that promote books, and those that are worthy of your time and some that are perhaps not. And you'll come away with a better understanding of how to use these marketing vehicles to get more sales, reader reviews, and positive word of mouth. And certainly when you look at our membership of the published authors that we have, the vast majority would be considered self-published. And so this topic should be very much on target. And we thank Mike and his daughter, Kathleen, for being here today. And, you know, we offer our speakers a $100 speaker's fee. And I just want to mention that Mike has graciously declined that and just is donating it back to our organization. So we appreciate that very much. And so Mike and Kathleen, we're going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Dwight. So thank you, Dwight and Mike, for setting this up and for having us. And thanks everybody for being here. And thanks for sharing the news about Bob. Bob is the one who I had my initial contact through. And so I'm sorry to hear about that, but certainly wish him well.
Right.
So today, I'm going to do several things. I'll give you a little bit about our background, just so you know who we are, where we come from, for whatever that's worth. And then I'm mainly going to talk about book promotion newsletters. Definitely be some time for Q&A. And actually, I think this is informal enough. Just holler if you got a question anytime. We can stop and, we don't have to wait till the end. And then if we have time, I'd like to, and I'm guessing we will, I'd like to do a little show and tell. So throughout I don't have a slideshow or a presentation or anything. I'm just going to talk for a while. And as I'm talking, I'm going to mention a lot of newsletters and online resources. You can jot something down if you want to refer to it later, but don't worry. I'm going to follow up with a cheat sheet for you. And I'll send that to Mike if that's okay. I've got your email address, Mike, and then you can share that with everybody else. So, and it'll include, hot links to a lot of the places I'm going to talk about. So you'll get that as a follow-up. With that, let me, a quick bit of background. Me, I consider myself a writer first. Way back in college, I was a double major in creative writing and economics. And then I later went on and got my MFA in creative writing and an MA in English literature. So I've always done my own creative writing, but to pay the bills, I always did corporate communications. I retired earlier this year, but had a long career doing executive speech writing and presentation and investor relations, all that kind of stuff. Kathleen has a BA in studio art with a minor in art history, and she has done a lot of marketing since she's been out of college, including working with me. At the independent book publishing company that Dwight mentioned. Speaking of that, back in 2009 is when I started that indie press. Kathleen was a senior in college then, so she actually helped me from the start. We initially focused on anthologies of creative nonfiction. You were mentioning anthologies earlier. So that's where I wanted to do originally. I had written some essays and had them published. And so I was kind of interested in that. And I kind of took the chicken soup model. And I wanted to do that, only I wanted to do anthologies of essays that were shorter and maybe a little more depth to them. I like the chicken soup stuff, but I always felt a lot of times they just were maybe more entertaining than thought-provoking, although sometimes they can be thought-provoking. But anyway, that's what I started out to do. So I did a couple of anthologies, but then something happened. One of the essays that I published in one of those anthologies, I contacted a woman and said, "Hey, I loved your essay. I want to include it in the anthology." And she said, "Well, that's actually an excerpt from a memoir that I wrote." And I said, can I read your memoir? So I read her memoir, and it blew me away. It needed some work. In this particular case, the woman had dropped out of school in the 9th grade and was a heroin addict, or I'm sorry, she was an alcoholic and pill addict. Her youngest daughter at age 14 was a heroin addict. And so she had this incredible story, which was horrific, but it was funny as hell. She just had this great voice, and that was the redeeming factor in her story, was that, she just had this great perspective on everything. So anyway, I ended up publishing her memoir, and then from there on, that's what I focused on. So just did memoirs for the next few years. So I only did that for 7 years, but in 7 years, published 13 books. And I'm going to give you some numbers, not to brag, but just to kind of, again, so you know where I'm coming from. So those 7 books, or those 13 books over 7 years, 3 of them made the New York Times bestseller list. 3 of them won Hoffer Awards. 1 book was optioned for a film. Overall, we averaged 6,000 copies sold of each title, and we had a couple that sold more than 20,000 copies. So to put that in perspective, I think any of the big 5 publishers would consider 5,000 copies sold to be respectable, and any small press would consider that to be a home run. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we did really well, and we did this without traditional distribution and on a shoestring budget. And one of the keys to that success was using these book promotion newsletters and websites that I'm going to talk about, because it's a very economical way to get your book in front of readers. And there are dozens of them, more than 100 by some counts. And I use a lot of them. And that's kind of why I'm sharing this today, because the only way to find out if they're effective or not is to use them. And, so it's kind of trial and error. I learned that a lot of them did not even generate enough sales to pay for the cost of the book promotion. But some of them do, and some of them do that and more. So today I'm going to tell you about some of those newsletters and really why I think they should be part of any author's marketing plan. And that's whether you are, published by a publisher or self-published, author-published. Either way, and you guys probably know this already, the marketing comes down pretty much to the author. The publisher will do some things for you, and they should. But a lot of it still falls on the author. So, writing your book and getting it published, that's just half the battle. So this is all about the second part of the story, which is the marketing. So let's talk about the book promotion newsletter. You're probably familiar with some of these. Some of the big names are BookBub, Bargain Booksy, eReader News Today. And for every one of those kind of prominent ones, there are a whole bunch of smaller ones, and like Book Basket, the Choosy Bookworm, the Frugal e-reader. There's a lot of them. They all pretty much follow the same business model, and that is that they are free to subscribers, and then authors and publishers pay to have their book featured.
Must be somebody.
Don't touch it, because every time I try to do anything.
Okay, I thought it was a question. Sorry, let's pause for a second. Okay, so I have a similar business model, and the prices vary quite a bit. I mean, you can be featured in one of these newsletters for as little as $10 in some cases, or in the case of BookBub, you could pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And I'll talk more about BookBub later. Even though the prices are high, it's worth it if you can get in it. These newsletters are great for readers. In addition to being free to subscribers, the newsletters mostly focus on bargains. Everybody loves a bargain, so they're great for readers. The only problem, I think, from a reader's perspective is that because the focus is on bargains, it's kind of a limited universe. I mean, the reality is that not every great book is $2.99 or less, so you're not seeing everything. And then the other thing is that in a lot of cases, the quality of the books in the newsletter is uneven. And that's because in a lot of cases, the only requirement is payment. Nobody's curating these. But some of them are, and I'll talk about which ones I like. But if they're not looking at quality, there's a more than middling chance that that 99-cent ebook you just downloaded may not even have been worth the time you took to download it, let alone read it. And then there are some problems, I think, problems or challenges from the perspective of the author. When you start looking around at these, and I'm sure some of you have, you'll see that some of the offers, the packages they offer are kind of convoluted. A lot of them have complicated pricing structures. They're tiered pricing structures based on number of subscribers or genre or some combination of thereof. And then and then there are order forms. There's like a maze of sometimes complicated order forms to get to when you go to schedule a book promotion. And so another thing that can be complicated from the author's perspective is coordinating promotions. So a lot of times, when you're ready to do a book promotion, or any author, they'll maybe put the ebook edition on sale for $2.99 or sometimes even free. And then they want to coordinate or stack promotions around that sale. And that, I tell you what, when you go to do a dozen or so book promotions with newsletters in support of your sale, you better be prepared to spend hours online filling out forms. It will take some time. That said, there are some shortcuts. I'm going to mention a few services that if you happen to be doing a promotion where you're giving away a free copy of your ebook, which a lot of people do just to get it out there, get some reader reviews, get some word of mouth, then there are a few services I've come across that will actually submit your book to some of these newsletters for free. But it's only if you're doing a free copy of your ebook. So there's one on Fiverr called Taranko One, and again I'll send you this information later. There's another one called Book Marketing Tools. The Taranko One, they'll submit to your free ebook to some of these newsletters for as little as $5. There's another one called Book Marketing Tools. They start at $29, the submission service. And there's another one I like that I'll show you later when we get to show and tell. It's called the Author Marketing Club. Now they don't submit for you, but they do kind of a nice thing. They've put links to all these newsletter submission forms on one page, which you still have to do the submission yourself, but just having all those links in one place will save you a lot of time. So, that said, that's for free books. When it comes to, if you're promoting a book that's on sale for 99 cents or more, you're on your own. You're going to do the submissions yourself, which is fine. It's doable, and we'll talk about that. But I will tell you about a service I came across recently. It's called BookRank, and I'll give you their link too. They offer two services. Again, they're doing submitting these books to newsletters for you, so they're saving you some work. There are two services. They've got one that they call We Build It. So you just give them your book information, and they decide where to promote it, and they'll do all the submission for you. It sounds okay, but it's a little pricey. I haven't used it, but I thought, oh, okay, it's an interesting service. There's a need for this, but the We Build It promotion I thought was a little expensive. They have another service that I think is a good deal. It's called Build Your Own Promotional Service. So in this case, they give you a checklist. They give you a list of book promotion newsletters. You can look at those, tell them which ones you want to submit to. And what they do is for $50 plus 6.9% of the total cost of promoting books with those newsletters. And then that's their fee. So Total cost of all the newsletters you want to use, plus $50, plus 6.9% is their fee for doing this for you, which I think is not a bad deal, actually, because it would save you a lot of time. They've got 33 book promotion newsletters that you can pick from. And like I say, you can pick and choose the ones you want. So not a bad deal. But the problem with that is if you're going to pick the ones you want to use, you got to know which ones to use, right? Which ones of those 33 are going to get you some results. So which ones to use? So just to kind of get your arms around the universe, there's a couple of sites out there that just list all these book promotion newsletters. There's a list on Readsy, and there's a really extensive list on Kindlepreneur, and I'll send you those links. The Kindlepreneur website, I think they list 130 of these book newsletters, so there's a bunch of them. But the problem is, like I said earlier, some of them just frankly don't generate enough sales to pay for even if it's $25 to be in their newsletter. If you think about that, just to do the math of it real quick, if I put a ebook on sale for $2.99 and I'm selling it on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Apple, I mean, generally the split goes, the e-retailer keeps a third. In my case, I'm a publisher, so I'd get 2/3 of it. But then my deal on ebooks is 50% of the net. The net goes to the author, so the author gets a third, I get a third, so I get $1, right, for every ebook sold at $2.99. So if it's $25 to be in a newsletter, I got to sell 25 ebooks to break even, which doesn't sound like a lot, but a lot of these newsletters just don't generate 25 sales, and that's just to break even. But I tell you what, break even is not a bad thing with these newsletters. And I say that because, your goal, of course, you'd love to sell more than that and make a profit. But even if you just break even, you're getting your book out there. You're getting it in the hands of readers. And if you got a good book, they're going to tell their friends about it. Maybe they'll put a reader review online. That's all good. You're coming out ahead. So that said, I'm going to mention a few that I recommend and tell you a little bit about them. And again, I will follow up with links to all these and show you some of them before we get off the call. So Bargain Booksy. Anybody familiar with Bargain Booksy? Right. It's a good one. It's a polished newsletter and website. They've got an easy to use order form. Their promotion prices range from $25 to $95 depending on the genre. So that's a pretty good one. And all these ones that I'm going to mention, based on my experience, generate at least enough sales to pay for the promotion. Another good one is Free Kindle Books and Tips. It's a very straightforward newsletter run by a guy named Michael Gallagher, who was at one time a top 10 Amazon reviewer. Now, he doesn't review the books that are in his newsletter, but he's got a big following. He's got like 600,000 subscribers. And you can be in that newsletter for $25 to $100, depending on the option you choose. One slight drawback is he links only to Amazon. Most of these will link to multiple e-retailers. Some of them link only to Amazon. Another good one is called Hot Zippy. Hot Zippy is actually an umbrella entity for 4 different newsletters. They're run by it's a well-established newsletter. It's run by a husband and wife team. And you can be in there for $25 and up, depending on the service you select. But this is another one that goes only to Amazon. Another one I like is called Book Basket, and this one I think is a little quirky, but that's good. I'm going to read you what they say about themselves on their website. It's a woman, and she says, "I handpick the best freebies available on Amazon.com. I pepper those freebies with a few stories about my anything but ordinary life, my kids, my cat and dog, and of course my chickens and my bees." So I thought, it's nice. She's adding a little bit of personality, a little bit more engaging than some of these others. And so, and she says she picks freebies that she puts in her newsletter. She also accepts paid promotion. So for starting at $25, you can have your book featured in her newsletter. A couple of others. E-Reader News Today is the longest running ebook newsletter. Their prices range from $40 to $130, depending on the genre and the price of your ebook. Choosy Bookworm, so just another newsletter that I recommend them partly because they get some results, but also it's a pretty straightforward and easy to use website. And then Kindle Nation Daily is another one, which is an interesting one to me. They generate sales, but they also have some of the most convoluted and expensive packages out there. So if you use them, I recommend going with one of their lower priced promotion options. But also get on their distribution list. Actually, you should get on the email list for all these because they all will periodically email you with discount offers. So Kindle Nation Daily is a good example. A lot of times you can get 50% off one of their packages if you are on their email list. And then of course there's BookBub. So BookBub is expensive, but it gets results. The catch with BookBub is that you have to apply if you want to be featured in their newsletter, and they are very selective. From what I read, they only accept about 10 to 15% of the books that are submitted to them. Some of it has to do with price. They require that all the ones I've mentioned so far, like I say, these are mostly focused on bargain books. So they're looking for your book to be $2.99 or less, or 99 cents, or even free. Some of them have options to feature books that are regular price or higher price, but most of them are focused on bargains. And BookBub actually requires that your book be on sale at the lowest price in its history. So if you had it on sale for 99 cents as a promotion, a month ago on Amazon, and then now you want to advertise it with them for $2.99, they won't do it. They guarantee their subscribers the lowest price on their books. So it is definitely all about bargains. So they look at that, but they look at a lot of other things. I mean, they look at the cover. It's got to be a professional cover. They look at professional reviews, reader reviews, awards. They don't give a number, but I tell people you should have at least 25 reader reviews on Amazon or Goodreads, averaging 4 stars or more. I've heard other people say you should have 50 reviews, averaging 4.5 stars to help ensure that you get accepted to be in their newsletter. So if you think you qualify, your book qualifies, submit it to BookBub. It's worth it. Their prices range from $113 to promote a free ebook to a small audience, to as much as $4,000 to promote an ebook that's $2.99 or more to a large audience. The average to promote a ebook that's on sale for 99 cents is about $600, which is a lot, but you will sell hundreds, if not thousands, of books as a result of doing a promotion with BookBub. And I mentioned earlier that 3 of the books that I published made the New York Times bestseller list. And I'm going to tell you how they did that. I mean, I was an indie publisher with no traditional distribution. We did that by putting the ebook edition of the books I published. And by the way, I'm talking a lot about ebooks, but I've published trade paperback editions of all these books. And in I think a couple cases with the author's help, we did audiobook versions. But we always led with the ebook price because that's typically the lowest price, right? You want to get your foot in the door. Here's a new book starting at $2.99, and of course they can opt to buy the print version if they like. But anyway, how I got in the New York Times bestseller list. I would put a book on sale for $2.99 or less, and I would stack promotions around it. So I would put it on sale for $2.99 starting on a Sunday, and would do BookBub promotion, Book Bargain Booksy, E-Reader News Today, all the ones I mentioned earlier. Maybe 10 or 12 book promotions on the same day, all promoting this sale. And then the day of the book promotions, the newsletters come out you get a big bump in sales, get some more the next day. And then it's kind of like the tail, you're still, but it's a good tail. You get a big bump on those first couple of days, and then the rest of the week, you'll still get more sales than normal, but it'll kind of taper down. But the way the New York Times bestseller list works is they look at sales from Sunday to Saturday. So if you can pack all those sales into that week and get hundreds or thousands of sales in 1 week, there's a good chance you could get on the New York Times bestseller list just by doing that. So that's kind of about the newsletter industry and some of the good ones, I think. Let me tell you a little bit about LitNuts, and then we can do some Q&A and some show and tell. So there's 100 or more of these newsletters out there, including some very good ones. So why did we launch another one in a crowded playing field? So we did that because we saw some opportunities for improvement. Like I say, I came at this from the perspective of an author and publisher first. I used a lot of these newsletters, saw some things I liked, some things I didn't like. And then again, I thought there were some things we could do better. So what do we do different? One is we are focused on independent books. And by indie books, I mean books from small presses and books from authors who self-published. So they're independent books. What we don't do, we do not solicit or accept book promotions from the big 5 publishers or any of their 250 imprints. And I don't know if you knew that, but that kind of startled me when I found that out. The big 5 publishers have 250 imprints. So you might think you're getting this from a small press or an indie press, but a lot of these imprints are owned by the big 5. So we focus on books from quality books from self-published authors and books from small presses. Where I do solicit books is from the Independent Book Publishers Association. I was a member as a publisher for a long time, and now I'm a member as a publishing partner, vendor. But it's a good organization. I got about 3,600 publishers, small independent publishers in that organization. So we reach out to them to see what kind of books they might want to promote. But I'm not aware of any other newsletter that has this kind of focus on indie books. So that makes us a little bit different. Another thing that makes LitNuts different is that I like to say we go beyond bargains. Again, a lot of the newsletters I mentioned are all about promoting bargain books. Yeah, we've got plenty of deals. We've got plenty of books that are ebooks that are $2.99 or less or even free. But we don't require that the publisher or author put the book on sale to be in our newsletter. It's like I said before, not all great books are $2.99 or less. And when a newsletter publisher does that, they really limit the universe. Maybe you or a small publisher has a new release. You don't want to put it on sale yet, or maybe you just won an award, and you want to play up that, so you don't want to have to discount your book to promote the award that you just won. Hopefully the award itself will generate some sales. So anyway, we don't require that the books be on sale, and that's that gives the authors and publishers more flexibility. But I think it's also good for our subscribers because frankly, they see more variety, just a wider range of price points. I know a lot of people who are happy to pay $4.99 or $6.99 or $9.99 for an ebook if they think it's a good book. A couple other things we do different. A lot of these newsletters I mentioned, you guys put out an anthology, so maybe you've experienced this. A lot of these newsletters will not even accept anthologies or collections of short stories or poetry. And candidly, I think they do that just because collections just don't sell as well as book-length fiction or as a novel or as book-length nonfiction. So, but we do. We're happy to include those. And then finally, we just try to make it simple and straightforward for authors. So we don't have any convoluted packages to analyze, no tiered pricing, just a flat price and a simple order form. So try to make it easy for authors. One thing that we do have in common with the other newsletters that I mentioned, and this is not true for all newsletters, but that we do have a focus on quality. So, I will tell you, if we see an unprofessional cover or a sloppy description, that's a quick refund. We're just not going to put it in the newsletter. We also take into account reviews from professional reviewers and online reader reviews, ratings and awards and recognition. So we just want to make sure we're giving our subscribers good books to choose from. So, all that said, I do think that book promotion newsletters, it's a dynamic component of the overall book industry, and it's a very economical way to get your book out there. So I really recommend it as part of your marketing plan. But, as with all things, proceed with caution. Readers need to be wary about the disproportionate focus on bargains that may not be bargains at all. And authors, you need to do your homework and know which newsletters actually get results. And I'm sorry to say there are some that are just out there taking your money. The good news with the latter is they don't stick around very long. When I started out again in 2009, I tried them all. And then, a couple of years later, I'd go to promote another book and some of them were gone, and that's as it should be. They just were not getting results. But, ideally, your book promotion will generate enough sales to at least pay for the cost of doing it. And as I said, even if you just break even, I consider that a win. You're getting your book out there. You're going to get, hopefully you're going to get some online reader reviews out of it, which I think those are worth their weight in gold because people look at those. And then, even more important, ideally you'll get some word of mouth. And that, to me, that's the holy grail of publishing, because that's not costing you anything. It's just people out there talking about what a great book I read and recommending it to their friends. And that's what you want. So let me pause there. I've kind of been running at the mouth. Let's see if you have any questions. And then, like I say, I'll do a little bit of show and tell.
Can I add two other things to kind of promote LitNuts?
Oh, sure.
Shamelessly plug us. So two other things that we do a little bit differently. We offer you the ability to link to your website as an author or as a publisher, which not all of the other e-newsletter businesses allow. So not only will we have links to Amazon and Barnes & Noble or wherever your book is sold, if you have it on your website, we'll include that too. So that way you get some traffic to your own site. And the other thing, I don't know if it was clear, like we don't just accept ebooks. If you have a paperback, but not an ebook, or if you have every kind of, a hardcover, an audiobook, an ebook, everything, we don't discriminate. We'll include all of that. So we just typically say, which I think you'll show the newsletter, but we typically just say, from $2.99, like whatever the price point is. And then it's up to the subscriber to go ahead and buy whichever format they're most interested in.
Right. No, thanks for mentioning that, Kathleen. Actually, just some quick stats. What we've seen so far is about 60% of the books that are featured in LitNuts are available in multiple formats. About 20% are available print only, and about 20% are available ebook only. So we're happy to promote any format.
I have a question.
Sure.
On your information that you're going to be sending us, you mentioned that some of the companies, whatever, offer discounts sometimes, so you should be on their list. Does your information indicate which of those sometimes offer the discount, or you just need to apply for them all to find out, or do you indicate that on your information? That'd be good to know.
Yeah, good question. Of the ones I mentioned, Kindle Nation Daily is the one that seems to be most aggressive with offering discounts.
Kindle Nation?
Yep, Kindle Nation Daily, or K&D, they sometimes abbreviate.
Okay. And is that on your information?
I'll include a link to them on the information I'm sending out. I did not note that they're the ones that do the most discounting, but they are. I mean, they have the highest prices.
That's good to know.
Yeah, other than BookBub, and I've not seen any discounts on BookBub. I don't think they discount. No, I've never seen BookBub discount. After BookBub, Kindle Nation Daily, it probably has the next highest pricing. And I think partly because of that, they run a lot of promotions. So all you need to do is when you go there, sign up for their author newsletter. I mean, you can sign up for their subscriber newsletter so you can see all of these I recommend. Sign up for at least a little while so you can see what they're putting out. You might want to unsubscribe from some of them after a while so you're not flooded with book promotion newsletters. But you can check them out, see what they're about, and then. But in a lot of these, in most cases, you can also get on the author email list, and it's that's where they'll tell you about specials and promotions for authors.
Oh, okay. This sounds really exciting. I can't wait to get all the information. Sounds like a lot better way to promote than, I don't want to hear any more about blogging.
Blogging, I mean, yeah, I've skipped over a lot of stuff. I mean, you've seen all the articles out there that recommend, have a platform, have a website, have a blog, social media presence. I mean, you got to do that too. But I tell you what, for a few $100s, you can put together a pretty good marketing promotion around using these newsletters,
There you go. Sounds like my kind of marketing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Other questions? Okay, well, let me show you a few of these, and then just again, jump in if you have any questions. I need to share my screen. So let's see.
Someone had a question, it looks like in the chat box.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, thank you.
So what length of e-newsletters do you see? Oh, from Rusty.
Rusty, yeah, okay. I'm sorry, where's, I'm not seeing the chat box. So here it is, okay. Okay, Rusty's question, what length of e-newsletters do you see? Ever see when-based flip page format as well? So I have not seen a flip page format. The length of the newsletters. It varies quite a bit. I will tell you, some of them have a similar format. So Bargain Booksy, BookBub, LitNuts, we follow a similar format, and that what you will see when you open the newsletter is, so I'm talking from the subscriber perspective. If you subscribe because you're a book lover, not this is not as an author, but you just want to get information about books that you might want to read. What you're going to see when you get your newsletter is typically a book cover, title, book cover, and a brief description of the book, maybe a paragraph or so. And, I tell authors and publishers that all you're trying to do with that paragraph is get the reader interested enough to click to learn more. Because right now they're looking at a newsletter that might have, might just have 3 or 4 books. Some of them have a dozen or more in the same newsletter. So, readers are going to be scrolling down this list, which cover catches their eye, which description sounds compelling. And then that's the one they're going to click on, either to go to a more detailed description or to go directly to an e-retailer. And of course, that's what you want. You want to stop scrolling and take a closer look at your book. So that's all that description is about, in my view. Now, that said, there are other newsletters, free Kindle books and tips, for example. They'll include, like a plot description or more details about a nonfiction book. So their descriptions are much more lengthy, which is fine. It's a different approach. So it varies, but I've never seen a flip book where you can actually flip through. Now, what I have seen is a couple of newsletters. I know Kindle Nation Daily does this. I'm trying to think who else, but there are some of them where they will actually, you have the option to actually share an excerpt from your book. So, the reader can actually read a little bit of it. So some of them have that option, but most of them, you're talking about, you're paying them to put your book cover and a brief description and links to e-retailers. That's what they're going to put in the newsletter. Let's see. I got another question in the chat box from Rusty. It says, do some send you to their website to see them? Oh, yeah. Some do. Now, some don't. Like Kathleen mentioned, that's one of the things that we decided to do, having been an author and a small publisher. It's nice. I always wanted the option to send people to my website, and that was not always an option. Like I said, some of them link only to Amazon. Most of them will link to multiple e-retailers like Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Smashwords, or Apple, Google. But most of them don't give you the option to link to the publisher's website or to your author's website. And there's a reason for that. most of them, and this is true for us too, most of these newsletters have affiliate relationships with Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Apple, where they're going to get a little bit of a commission. So if you read a book, if you see the book in their newsletter, you click on that link, it takes you to Amazon and you end up buying the book. That newsletter publisher is going to get a little bit of a commission. Now, it's not a lot, it's a few cents, but if you're BookBub and you're putting out thousands of books every day, that adds up. But more important, and this is the reason we do it, is it gives us the ability to track sales. So through our affiliate accounts, we can see, okay, we featured this book on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It sold 20 copies. And maybe we can attribute that to our newsletter. Sometimes it's hard to take credit for that because, like I say, a lot of people will be in multiple newsletters on the same day. So it's kind of the cumulative effect that drives those sales. But anyway, that's why a lot of them just don't give you the option to link to your publisher or author website because they don't get any commission on that. We don't care about the commission. We're happy to send people to the author's website or the publisher's website. And in those cases, just to be candid, we know that in the case of ebooks, that Amazon generates the vast majority of ebook sales. So we can look at that number and say, okay, this promotion did pretty well, Any other questions? Okay, let me see if I can share my screen and then I can show you some of these. And Dwight or Mike, you tell me if we need to stop at any point, but we can probably go for another 15 or 20 minutes if that's okay. Okay, let me show you some of these things that I've been talking about. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay, I just want to show this part of my screen. You don't need to see everything on my screen. Okay, I mentioned Kindlepreneur. I mentioned them because they've got this list of 127 plus book promotion sites. They say sites, but most of these are newsletters. But Kindlepreneur is also just a good resource. I mean, this guy is just basically talking about how to market your book. So it's a good resource. But I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. I'll skip all his introductory copy. But he's got two sections here. He's got top free book promotion sites. So if you're putting an ebook on, giving it away for free as a promotion, this is a list of places where you can have your book featured. So he's got a nice little table here that kind of runs down the name of the newsletter or website, the price range, whether they allow erotica or not, and then a few notes. And then if we scroll down a little further, you will see there's a long list. Okay, now we get down here to the top paid book promotion sites. So if your book is not free, anything that's not free, these are the ones you want to go to. And same thing, you can see the name of the service, the price, and some notes about what they do. And I'm looking, yeah, they've got LitNuts on this list. So, but it's an extensive list, more than 100, a good resource. And I will send you a link to this one. Let's see, another one I want to show you is, I mentioned BookRank. So let's look at this one. So BookRank is the service I mentioned that, I'm sorry, this is Author Marketing Club. I'll get to BookRank in a minute. Author Marketing Club is the one I mentioned where if you are giving away a ebook for free, as a promotion, they've got this tool where if I scroll down on this page, all of these are links. Here's a link to Free Booksy. I mentioned Bargain Booksy. Free Booksy is kind of its sister newsletter for free ebooks. But anyway, if you click on any of these links, it will take you to their book promotion submission page. So you still have to fill this in yourself, but it just, it saves you some time. What happened here? It saves you some time to have their, that was weird. It saves you some time to have all these in one place. Now, what I see that just happened, which is kind of unfortunate, when I went from that author marketing club to this page. It doesn't allow me to go back, which is, so you need to bookmark that one. Okay, book rank is the one I mentioned that they will submit. So we're not talking about free ebooks anymore. This is any price. But let's say you have an ebook promotion for $2.99. Book rank will submit it for you. They have this We Build It operation. And again, their price varies depending on whether ebook is free or 99 cents or $1.99 or more. But let me just show you for 99 cents. Then you pick whether it's romance or non-romance. Here are their prices. Not cheap, you know. I mean, it starts at 200, but goes up to 1,500 for them to submit, depending on how many places they submit to. Yeah, I thought, okay, yeah, maybe that's okay, maybe not. I don't know. It seemed a little pricey to me. I like this build your own promotion service over here. Again, they sorted out by romance and non-romance. So let's look at the romance options. So they got this form, and I'm going to scroll down. I mean, you start off by entering your contact information about your book, etc., links to retailers and so forth. But then you get down here, and then of course you can tell them what dates you'd like to start and end your promotion. So a lot of information to fill out there. Upload your cover. And then you get down here, it talks about their fee for the service, which, like I said, it's $50 plus 6.9% of the total of all the promotions that you schedule. And then finally, a little bit more information. Finally, you get down here and they list, I think, 33 different newsletters that you can pick and choose. So, you know, you just kind of work through this, say, okay, I want, whoops, sorry, screens bounce around. I want to be in BookBub. I want to be in Bargain Booksy. I want to be in the Fussy Library. You can just go down this list, pick which ones you want. They've got the prices there. You can kind of keep your running total as you go. So you can control who you want to go to and how much you want to spend, and then they will submit for you. I think not a bad service. That would save you a lot of time. And again, it's $50 plus 6.9% of your overall total. I mentioned Bargain Booksy. I think they're a pretty good one. They, in my experience, they typically generate enough sales to pay for promoting a book with them. And this page just shows you how they do things. They give you, they do things, their pricing is based on a combination of genre and subscriber base. So for example, you can see here that to do a thriller, they have 178,000 subscribers. It's $60 to be featured in that newsletter. So I should pause here for 1 second, because somebody asked earlier, what will you see in these newsletters? Some of them, like Bargain Booksy, BookBub, LitNuts, we customize the content for the subscriber based on the subscriber's genre preferences. Now, some of them don't do that. Most of them don't do that. So if you subscribe to their newsletter as a book lover, you're going to see books from all genres. But if you want to narrow it down a little, some of them give you the option of saying, okay, I only want to see these genres. And then what you're looking at right here is the flip side of that. From the author's perspective, you can kind of segment and say, okay, I want to go to subscribers who have said they're interested in thrillers, and then just target them. Got a few more here to share. Free Kindle books and tips I mentioned. This is the run by a guy who was the top 10 Amazon reviewer. Again, he does not review the books that go into his newsletter, but he's got a pretty good newsletter. And if you go to his For Authors page, which is what you're looking at here, he's a little verbose, so I'm not going to go through all this, but it's good information. If you read through all this, he talks about web marketing, talks about what kind of books they accept and why they don't accept some. And then he gets down to, here are the types of postings they offer: $25 for a free Kindle book. If it's, if your book is 99 cents, it's $30. If it's $1 or above, it's $60. Anyway, he goes through all this detail. It's a lot of detail, but I mean, he's very straightforward. I mean, you know what you're getting when you go to free Kindle books and tips, and they get results. He's got 600,000 subscribers. See, Hot Zippy, I mentioned. Hot Zippy is a parent for 4 different newsletters. Here they kind of go through their services. And here are their 4 newsletters. They've got a horror newsletter. They've got a bargain one. They've got one called Pixel Scroll, and they've got one that just focuses on romance. So depending on where you are, you can then decide what type of promotion you want with them. Book Basket is the one that I mentioned that talks about not just books, but also about her bees and her garden and everything else. Which I like. Here are the options they have for doing promotions with them. And then Kindle Nation Daily. This one is the one I talked about. They generally get results, but the options, I'm going to scroll down to show you their they call them sponsorship options. But this is what you as an author would be picking. You can see they got a lot of different options here, and they're not, they're mostly $100 and up. They're not cheap. So, when I first came across this, it took some time to study these options and decide what you want to do. So to me, it's a little convoluted, and I would, if you're going to try them, I would go for one of the lower price ones, like maybe the free book alert. So in that particular case, they're putting out a newsletter that's all free books. Your book does not need to be free to be in that newsletter, because what they're selling here is you're going to sponsor that newsletter. So at the very top of that newsletter would be your book at whatever price it is, and a description of your book. And then the newsletter will go on to say, here's a list of free ebooks. Further down the newsletter, this is brought to you by Michael Mary and his book, Wise Men and Other Stories. So you're sponsoring the newsletter for that day. So it's more of an advertisement, frankly, which really all these are. Like I say, a lot of options to sort through. Okay, and then finally, BookBub. I'm going to show you this page, because this page is actually buried in their website. It's pretty hard to find, but it tells you how they do business. So they're like book or bargain booksy, in that you can see they've got things broken down by genre. Look at their subscribers. I mean, it's unbelievable. For crime and fiction, they've got 3.8 million subscribers. All these have, in the millions on their subscribers. And then their pricing, a little convoluted, but basically, you look at the genre, and then depending on the price of your ebook, the price goes up. But the nice thing here, they will tell you the average number of downloads for a free book, or an average number of books sold for anything that's not free. In my experience with them has been, you don't just break even. You will probably get your money back and then some. They will generate sales, but it's tough to get in. And then there's LitNuts, another shameless promotion, but this is our page for authors and publishers. Like I say, we try to keep it simple. All of our promotions are $25. We break it down into just 6 genres instead of dozens. And then we have some more information about who can promote, why to promote, and so forth, and pricing your ebook. But that's kind of my tour. And again, I'll follow up with a cheat sheet that kind of gives you links to all these. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and just maybe see if there are any more questions or any other thoughts before we wrap up. Dwight, looks like you're talking, but you're muted. Or maybe he's not talking to us.
No, I'm talking to you.
Okay.
There you go. So do most of these sites require that a book be very recently published within a certain time frame?
No. Some do, but no. For the most part, no.
Okay, all right. Well, good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we all have a 5-year-old book that just never did take off, and we might like to try it, you know.
No, I think so. Now, some of them do have restrictions on how often you can be in them. So in
Oh.
our case, we will only allow you to promote the same book once every 6 months.
Oh,
Some I saw one the other day that you can do it once every 30 days. So there's that kind of restriction. But no, I mean, if you've got a book, and I've done this, I've done it with the same the same book promotion newsletter. Maybe I've got a book that I published 3 or 4 years ago. I did a lot of promotion when it first came out. Now it's a couple of
Right.
years later. Let's put it on sale and promote it again. Yeah.
okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Is there a certain price discount that you find works the best? 99 cents or 1.99, or I mean, what do you recommend?
Yeah. No,
Sounds like if you go to 99 cents and then if this one place says they have to be the lowest, that might be a disadvantage. But something I read said that the 99 cents was the best. So I'm a little clarification.
Yeah. So that's a great question. And so some thoughts on pricing. And again, we're talking about ebooks here because they're kind of your price leader.
Right.
Like most things, the more aggressively you price, the better. At a certain point, and I think that point is typically $2.99 or less, or maybe $3.99 or less. It can become an impulse buy. So I've read some articles recently about people who have huge libraries at home of print or ebooks, most of which they've never read. And, and God knows I've got hundreds of books, and there are a lot of them that I've never read. But people kind of collect and accumulate books, and it makes them feel good. It's kind of good knowing that, okay, I've got all these great books that I'm going to read someday. Maybe you'll never get to all of them, but people do kind of collect and accumulate books. And like I said, at a certain price point, $2.99 or whatever, it's an impulse buy. Like, oh, this book sounds really good. Okay, I'm going to download it and read it later. So I think that's there's definitely some truth to that. I mean, the problem with that is again, the way the pricing works with Amazon. If it's $2.99 and up, you get essentially 2/3 of it. Barnes and Noble, I think it's 70%, but it's all around the same. If you go below that price, you get a lot less. I think you get only 1/3 of it. So if you're putting a book out there for 99 cents or $1.99, even if you sell a bunch of copies, you're probably not going to make a profit. But you're getting it out there for other reasons. You're getting it out there to get it into hands of readers and get some word of mouth going and get some online reader reviews, which hopefully will pay off down the road. But I don't believe you need to discount everything. I mean, as an author and a publisher, I want to make some money too.
Yeah.
So if you got a good book, I think a lot of people, as the price goes up, people give it more thought before they click and buy it. But $4.99, $6.99, I think those are still fair prices for a good ebook. You'll see a lot of them at $9.99 and even more. I think it gets really tough for people to pay the same for an ebook that they would pay for a print copy. So there's kind of that barrier. So there's kind of that window, I think, between $2.99 and $9.99 where that's a fair price and a better deal than the print version.
Even on a promotion? I thought these promotions had to be really cheap. Did I misunderstand?
No, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. There are most of them, yes. With LitNuts, no, you can promote it at any price. I think Bargain Booksy gives you some more flexibility. BookBub is the one that BookBub requires that it be at its lowest price ever. Some of the others require that it be $2.99 or less. So yeah, in those cases, you are talking about either a book that has a very low regular price or a book that you've discounted just to promote it.
Okay, but you're talking about the regular price like on Amazon to keep it at $4.99 or $5.99 is reasonable.
I think so, and I think that that just varies kind of based on the authors or publishers, needs or financial requirements or what you think is fair, and I think that's fair in most cases.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I think it's important too to think about, basically all of these newsletters are what was described before, like the book title or the cover, the title, and a short description. So I think thinking about that description and how to keep it concise but still compelling to stand out in the newsletter with all these other ones that are, maybe in your same genre, but like I know for our newsletter, we have at least 2 books featured in each newsletter per genre. Sometimes there's a few more, but there's at least 2. Some of the newsletters are 20 books deep. Like there's just so many, sometimes it's overwhelming as
All right.
a subscriber to be looking at all of these books. So I think it's good to consider the price, but then also consider how you're selling it with your book description and how to get someone interested by, whether it's a review or a short synopsis or both, whatever it might be. But I think that's important to think about too.
Yeah, we do have on our website, I forget what the page is called now, but if you go to the author and publisher page on our website, there's a link to a post called Book Descriptions to Click. And it's all about how to write a short description that will get the reader's attention. And it's a simple formula. It's like endorsement, a few compelling statements about the book, endorsement. And by endorsement, I mean a blurb from a professional reviewer or another author, or an award recognition that the book got, or even you can even just pull a reader review from Goodreads and attribute it to a Goodreads reviewer. That's an endorsement, so, or you can pull the star rating and the number of reviewers from Goodreads or Amazon. That's an endorsement. I just feel those are a lot more effective than a lengthy plot description.
So if your book gets awards after it's been out there for a while, that means you should be redoing your description?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Should do my description.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. I would refresh those descriptions periodically. That's definitely worth doing. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of a plot overview, but if you can get that down to 2 or 3 sentences, you don't have to tell them everything. You're just trying to tell them enough to get them to take a closer look.
Awesome.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions for Mike or for Kathleen?
How soon do we get all your information?
I will get it to Mike later today, and then it's on Mike.
Good.
Good to know.
Okay.
Mike, are you still
All
in
right.
earshot of
Yes, I
Mike?
am. I'm
Okay.
still here.
Okay.
We all want to thank Mike and Kathleen. Let's give them a hand of appreciation.
This was excellent for us. This was
Great.
what we needed to learn more about.
Yeah, this is the part of the writing that's the hardest for me, and I know for a lot of us, is the marketing part of it.
Yeah,
That's a
true for
whole
everybody.
different world out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have some ideas for Dwight and for the club that maybe we can start processing this information and make it more effective for our club. So thank you so much, Mike and
Great,
Kathleen,
that's a pleasure.
for all
Thank
that you've
you.
given to us. And with that, we will close the meeting and thank everyone for attending. Don't forget, I'll be sending you information also about the 22nd and us doing It's a Wonderful Life. It really is amazing, an amazing script, and I think we'll really enjoy it. So thanks everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Thanks again, Mike and Kathleen.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.